Okay, so I'm almost done with the Vanax kitchen knife. I just need a little bit more. Probably next week. By the next week, I'll probably be done. It's been like fighting me like every step of the way. It's kind of crazy. Um, so now I'm gonna choose. I'm at the point where I'm gonna choose like a certain section of the scales I have for the knife. So I just wanted to do just a quick, or I don't know if it's gonna be quick, but just a video on how I go about choosing basically the piece or where I'm gonna cut out the piece for the handle. So when you do, I mean every piece of wood is kind of different, and you just have to look at what the wood's doing basically, and hopefully, listening to myself right now. Hopefully this is not a boring video. So listen to the wood, what the wood is doing. So all right, so here you just have to look at the grain. One of the things that you can look is basically at the grain. And this, if you have alcohol, it kind of brings it out better. So let me just go over it a little bit, and let me show you. So if you look at that, all this is the grain right here. So it's just basically going up and down. It has a little bit of a curvature to it, but it's just going straight up. And not straight, but I mean, it's just going up and down. Here, you can kind of see the grain without the alcohol. And I already drew out where I think it's going to go. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm kind of almost 100% sure this is where it's going to go, the handle. So here's the curvature of the grain too. So the curvature of the grain is, if you just like, if you look at, your a board on a fence or something like that, you'll see the grain like super easy, because it's the denser the wood, the smaller the grain that it starts having. So on a piece of wood, it basically looks something like this, and what that means is it's kind of like weak points basically. They're weak points. So that means with lines like this, you should be able to, break it easier this way. So like this. So because the grain is going up and down, I should be able to break it easier that way than this way. Because this way, it would basically split along the grain. It would these would all split open. So one of the things, I guess you could, but if you have grain going this way, it's kind of bad to put it this way on a handle, and you kind of want it in line. You can do whatever. I mean, anybody can do whatever they want, but for me, and I'm not like an expert at this, so just me, just is what I do. I like to have the grain going up and down on the handle. It depends too. If it's like curved like this or whatever, as long as it's not completely perpendicular. So that's one thing. The other thing, and this is see, like, and each wood is different, but these little things here, they kind of look like knots, but they're not really knots in my opinion. So it just seems like to me, so this would be a knot. So you have basically a spot where a branch used to be, and then you have the wood basically curving around it. And how a knot looks, like, let's say you take this and you split it. How a knot looks is basically something like this is let's say this is the piece of wood. So if you cut the knot in half, it would look something like this, something like that. And then you have the circular knot. Sometimes they go completely through, but then you can punch these out. Or if you try to drill it, let's say if you try to drill from here, you would basically, there's a chance you can you know, all this section, even though the drill is smaller, there's a chance of this popping out completely. So this doesn't really look like a knot. This just kind of looks like basically like a crack going along the grain. I could be wrong, but that's how it looks like to me, and I'll show you too on the other side why. So this is this, and then these two are this basically. And so what that tells me too is that this, the grain on for what's happening from, you know, in between these two parts, is that the wood is going like this, the grain. So if you can see here, this is about like 1/8 of an inch, and then this is about probably like twice as much. So it's going over a little bit. So this piece of wood is like way more problematic than this guy. This guy's like pretty easy. There's a nice spot where I can cut out for the handle, and this is what I need. This is the pattern for the handle. So for this one, with all that stuff in mind, I want to put this piece. So this pattern represents the tang of the knife, the handle of the knife. So wherever I put this pattern, I'm gonna use this to cut it out, but I'm also gonna use that pattern to glue it to epoxy it to the knife itself. So so if you look at this, it's solid here, and then it starts opening up as it goes along. So it gets wider. So that means I don't want, if I incorporate any of these, if I have to use any of these knots, I want to put these on the outside. So let's say this is the handle of the knife. If I put it here and I grind down, which I'm gonna have to because my mom's hands are small, so let's say I ground down to here. This little crack here is gonna get smaller and smaller the further I go down towards this section, towards this side, because right here it's completely closed. There's like no crack at all. So I don't know at what point this actually closes, but it's completely, I know that it's completely closed here. And then I know that this moves more and more further and further right the more I go down. So I know those things. So I chose right here you can kind of see a rough outline of where I'm thinking of putting it. I have to basically use this little piece. I have to. There's no way around it because I can't put it anywhere else. I'm gonna draw the same part on the other side, but I just want to see what little crack or whatever where they are, so to try to avoid them. So this here was basically like the best area I could put it on. So if I put it back here, and I'll tell you why too in a second. So if I put it back here, see it's almost completely off the handle, almost, and it avoids everything else. See that? And then when it comes out here, it avoids everything else. It avoids this crack on top too by I think a good amount of margin, just by a good amount without it, so that's the reason to know too where it's going. So all right, so this is pretty close. This little area is pretty close to this knot, to this crack here. It basically ends right about here, basically. Really, really close. But just from looking, this gets smaller And here's a little representation of what it does. Smaller and smaller, and then further towards this edge here as I grind down. So it doesn't move this way. If I look to the other side and I saw that it got wider or something like that, and it moved this way, or even if this moved this way on the other side, like if it was like an eighth towards this side, having this here corner there would be a problem, because that means that this section of the handle would meet up with this crack eventually down the line. But this way it avoids it completely. So that only leaves this guy here, and this guy. So it is a problem, but I can't really get around it. But this, where it's placed, this I'm gonna be reducing this, because this is gonna be wide. It's going to be thinned out here, the handle, and then it's going to go wide again here for the palm swell. So I measured my mom's hand. She thought it was weird, but I just measured her hand basically from here to here, and this is, if you go like this, your hand makes like a little natural cup. It's like if you're going to get water to drink. So I just measured from here to here. And this palm swell is going to go right where that little natural cup is. So this area, I'm gonna reduce it down a lot, and it's going to look something like this. Like this is the tang of the knife, but it's going to be more inward. So by the time I get down to here, or even less, probably down to here a little bit, it should be almost solid. So we'll see. These are my predictions. This is how just want to make a little video of how I choose sections for the knives I have. So hopefully this wasn't too boring, but yeah. So okay, we'll see how it comes out. All right, bye.